Hello folks, it's been a while. We created something simple and fun. So in this video we will be using Vanilla.js to create this drawing app. So you will be able to draw stuff over here using mouse of course. And you can also let's say make some basic shapes like rectangles, circles and other things, and you can also erase them. So here as you can see I have one index.html file and I have linked the CSS and the JS files, and there are some basic styles over there. You can already see it. I mean it's not much. So I will be closing these two files and I will be directly going to my script.js and start writing some canvas code. And in case you don't know how to use canvas, I have some videos I have already made on canvas. You can watch them first and then you can come back to this video. So here first of all I will be creating one variable called canvas, and this will refer to my canvas in the like document object model, or DOM in short. So we will be getting elements by ID, and the ID is canvas. Now I will have to create one context to start drawing stuff. So I will name it as ctx equals to canvas dot get context and 2D. Now we can start our drawings. So to give a demonstration, I will be drawing one simple line, let's say. So I will do ctx dot begin path, and then let's say I want to move to first of all the point 100 comma 100, let's say. So it was a typo, but anyway, it's fine. Let's say I will draw a line to 100 comma 100, and then we will do ctx dot stroke. So as you can see, we have one line over here, and we can also do a few more things. So we can basically increase the line width to 3, let's say. So we have a thicker line now, and we can also do line cap equals to round. So now the ends will be more circular. It should be round and not rounds. If I make it 10, you will understand. If we don't have this line, it's like squarish. Now things are more round and it looks better, I would say. So this is the formula we will be using to create lines and stuff. So we will start by writing few functions. And the first function will allow us to draw rectangles. And I will name this function as rectdraw. And the function will also be accepting some arguments, x, y, basically the starting point of a rectangle, which is nothing but the top left corner. And then the width, height, also the line width, and let's say color. Yes, we can also change colors. So for example, in this line, I will be adding ctx dot color equals to red. And as you can see, our line is changed to one beautiful red line. It's not, and that is because it is not color that we have to write. It's ctx dot stroke style equals to red. And now we have a red line. So now how can we draw one rectangle? Very simple. And that is we have to do ctx dot stroke rect. And here inside I have to pass four arguments, as you can already see, x, y, and then width and height. Now if I try to call the function, let's say from here rect draw, let me call at 10, 10, 20, 20. There are some errors coming here. Expected, yeah, and that is because we cannot pass like this. We have to pass x as 10, y as 20, and then let's say um, width, right? Width as 50, and height as let's say 20. And as you can see, we have one red rectangle. Why red? Because it is still using this stroke style red over here. And that is why we have to change these things also. So here I will do ctx dot line width equals to whatever line width we are passing. Yeah, and it is also taking the old line width, that is 10. And then the color. So ctx dot stroke style should be color. Now if I pass the same things over here. So after height, let me pass the line width as 3, not much. And the color we can give as blue. So now we have one blue rectangle at wherever position is specified. So these things work. Let me remove it, or we can also keep it. It's not causing any issue. Let me put it at the top. So this function draws rectangles. Now let's write another function to draw circles. So draw circles. And I will name this function as circle draw. And now how we can draw one circle. So the circle will also be accepting few things. So x, y, and then radius. Then also the line width and the our other thing, that is color. Now to draw a circle, so circle is also treated like a line. So we have to start by ctx dot begin path, and then we have to do is basically add our things. So ctx dot line width should be my line width, and ctx dot stroke style should be my basically not stroke style, color that I passed. And then I have to do the ctx dot arc. X and y is, let's say, the center. Then we have radius. Then we have to add the start angle and end angle. Add angle is like start angle is 0. End angle is basically 360 degrees. That is math dot pi into 2 in radian terms. And lastly, do you want this thing to be clockwise or counterclockwise? Anything is fine, so I will add false. And lastly, I will also have to do the stroke. So ctx dot stroke. So now let's see the circle is drawn or not with some sample input. So circle raw, and let's say I will copy few things from here because it's a pain writing again and again. So x, y are the things I have to write because it's unique. And let's make it 105 and 205. Radius could be 50. Line width could be 4. And color could be green. So it's also working. So it's fine. I mean, it's not like we have to test every time. And the other things are actually quite simple. We have to add a line draw. And lastly, one pencil draw, which is more tricky. So now we will create the line draw function. So I will write function line draw. And we already know what we need to do over here. We need four things, x1, y1, basically our move to this line, line number 7, and then x2, y2, that is the line 2, line number 8. And also the line width and color. Every time we need that line width and color. We can also add other things. So like we have to refer to the canvas API for that, like what are the options we have. But that is also something we can do. So we will again start by ctx dot begin path, and then basically whatever we do, ctx dot line width equals to my line width, ctx dot color equals to my color, and then ctx dot line width color is done. So I have to do the move to my x1 comma y1, and then ctx dot line 2 to my x2 comma y2, and lastly we have left with ctx dot stroke. So now let's say let's draw this line using this function and not whatever we have done over here. So here what we want to do is basically call the line draw function, and here I have x1 as 199. Let's change it the other way around. It's fine. The line will be same place only. X1 is 100, Y1 is 100. And then my X2 will be 200, let's say. Let's not give 199. Last time it was a typo. And Y2 is also 200. My line width is 10. And my color is red. And I will remove these things. So for example, I will keep the line cap as round because that's for everything. And I will remove this line width as 10, and also the city start begin path. Other things are handled. So this one is somehow red. I mean, not red, it's black. And that is because we have done the city dot color once again. My bad. It should be stroke style. So now we have the same three things, like same three objects, but in the form of function. So this is more clean because we can also use them in other ways. Now the question is, how can I use the pencil? So for example, if I press and move the cursor, it should draw something. So how can I do that? So that is more tricky. Let's name this thing as pencil draw, and we will see how we can do this also. So I will create another function called pencil draw. Let's keep the p small. And what is the idea is we have to use event listeners for this one. So whenever I am moving my mouse, every time I have to pass the parameters to the pencil draw. And the pencil draw will call the line draw function to draw one line between the very two small spaces. I mean, you will get the idea when I'm writing some more code. I mean, that is the idea. Like we have to call these functions repeatedly. So to do those things, I will be adding some event listeners. So let me just add a few things over here. So canvas, it's not something so complicated. Canvas dot add event listener. The first one will be mouse up. And whenever we have a mouse up, we want to do a few things. And we will do those things. But before that, let me also add the other function. So add event listener. Next one will be mouse move. And the third one, canvas dot add event listener. This one will be mouse down. Actually, the mouse down will be first, and then the mouse up will be last. So mouse down is basically whenever we are clicking, and then we have the mouse move and the mouse up. And before drawing all of these things, I also have to add few more things. So I will be adding something called modes. So what are our different modes of drawing? That is basically what our modes is. And then we will also select some current mode. So right now the modes are pencil, then we have rectangle, then we have what is that called, circle, then we have our line, and lastly, let's say we will also be having one erase. That will be similar to the pencil but with white. That's all. And let's say the mode or the current mode, whatever is that, is my pencil. And also let's add few buttons at the top for the modes. So I will go back to my index.html file, and below the drawing app, I will be adding, let's say, a few buttons. So this button will be called pencil, and the ID will be called pencil, the same as the modes. So we have pencil and then five more. So this one will be my rectangle. Then this one will be my circle. Then we have what is that called? My line. And lastly, we have my erase. And let's say then we will also be having some inputs for our, like, basically the line width and the color also, but we can do that later. First of all, let's deal with this much only. And now we need some variables to start working. So what are the variables? So first of all, we will be needing one variable to check whether we are drawing or not. So something called is drawing, and it will be false by default. And then we will need some start x and start y, and then also some previous x and previous y. You will see why we need this soon, but as of now, bear with me for some time. And current x and current y. We also need to store all of our drawings. So one array to store all the drawings, and also one array to store all the pencil strokes, only the pencil strokes. Okay, good. So now we will start with our mouse down function. So whenever we are clicking on the mouse, what happens? We get access to E, and we can console log the E, but let's not do something so stupid right now. What we can do is log E dot client X and E dot client Y. And let's see what we get. So let me open the console, and let me just refresh once. Okay, there is some error. Failed to execute add event listener on target, two arguments required, but only, yeah, that is because of the mouse move and the other things. So let's do one thing. Let's do the same thing again. So we will have access to E, and let's print this thing console log, like E dot client X and client Y. So as you can see, we are having lots of things. So what are these things? So here, as you can see, we have 11 and 102. This is basically our position, first position, like x1, y1. So this 11 is our x1 and 104 is our y1. But why is this 104? It should be something low, right? Because it's the top left corner of the canvas. And that is because it is taking some offset. So we have to cancel that out also. So let's do that first. You will get it. So whenever we are doing a mouse down, so whenever we are clicking the mouse, we are basically setting our is drawing to true. And whenever we are doing a mouse up, we are setting our is drawing to false. We will do that once we go to the mouse up, but for now, in the mouse down, is drawing is becoming true. And then we need to set some values to our start x and our index. So start x will be e dot client x minus my something we can write like canvas dot get bounding client rect and then the left. Similarly, we will get start y and then the same thing e dot client y and then canvas dot get bounding client rect and then we will take the top. So we have little bit different values and now instead of the client x and client y, we will be printing our start x and start y. So one issue is there and that is it will be showing the mouse move. So let me just click here and as you can see 4 and 4.5 something that is coming from this thing. So it actually makes sense. It's at the top left corner and it's around 4. So this is fine. So we have start x and start y and now what we want to do is basically assign to our current x and current y the same values. So cur y will be my start y. That's all we need in the mouse down. And also let's close the left section to get more space. Sometimes I just forget to close. And now what we want to do inside the mouse move. There are a lot of things we want to do. First of all, if like if we are not clicked, so if the is drawing is let's say false, so we are using not is drawing, then we simply want to return. We don't want to do anything with the function. And in case that is not the case, we can start working. So first things first, what we will do is we will take the previous x and previous y. So current x value we will assign to previous x and the same for the previous y, we will assign the current y value. Now why this is required, you will see soon because we want our current x and current y values to change also as we are like moving forward. Like mouse move is actually very long thing and drawing is false so it's not working, so now it will work when I'm clicking. So we want the same things here, so let me just copy these things and paste over there. So this will be my current x and the same thing will be my current y, and then we will have a switch case with a mode. So there will be a switch case with whatever mode we have, and then inside we will have different cases. So the first case, let's say, is of the pencil. Then we have the second case, and this will also have a brick. So so that when we don't have the pencil, it doesn't keep on checking the other modes. Let's say the second mode will be erase. We will have a brick. Then there will be a third mode. Let's call it rectangle. Again, another brick. Then another mode called circle, brick. And I think only one is left, and that is the line. So case, line, and then brick. Okay, good. So we will write these things, but before that, let's also take a look at the mouse up. So basically, we will be adding the logic to write stuff over here. And let's also remove the client X and client Y. I think this is not required. Instead, we can simply print the current X and current Y. So inside my mouse up also, we need to check our modes to store our last value. So here also we will be having one mode, and inside the mode, the same things. Once again. And other things that we are doing, yeah, there is one issue here, and that is this thing is added inside the mode or something like that. Very silly. Now this is fine. So we have one mode inside the mouse up, and other things that we need to do is we need to do the is drawing as false. Let's remove this thing, it's not required. Now, one thing to note is we have to change our modes by clicking on this button. So that functionality is not yet done. So we also need to do that. So what we can do is add one event listener called click. So above the mouse down, I will do canvas dot add event listener. I will name it as click, and the click will have access to the E. And let's do one thing. Let's simply console log the E So let me just click on the rectangle. Uh, okay, I think there is some issue and it should not be canvas, it should be document because the rectangle is outside the canvas. So if I now click on rectangle, I get many things. Pointer event is this, that, this, that. But there will be something called the src element, which has our basically the button. So I can do e dot src element. Now if I click on circle, as you can see, we have the circle. And by clicking on dot id, we can directly get that. So we have circle, rectangle, line, erase, pencil, but it is also taking things for other like canvas and everything else also, but that should not be the case. So we will only check whenever it is present inside the modes. So what we can do is write one simple if statement here. So if modes dot includes my e dot src dot element, like src element dot id, only then you will change my whatever is that mode equals to e dot src dot element dot id. I mean the same thing, and then you can also lock the mode. It's not a big deal. So mode. So now whenever I'm clicking outside, yeah, this is the my mouse down, so it's not a problem. So whenever I'm clicking outside, nothing is happening. Whenever I'm clicking on pencil, some errors. Assignment to constant variable. Uh, I think this modes and mode should not be const. It should be let. Modes can be const, but mode should be let. So now we have pencil, rectangle, circle, line, erase. So modes are changing, that is fine. Now only thing is left is the drawing. So how can we draw? So first things first, let's start with the easier ones, and that is drawing our rectangle, circles, and lines. And then we will see how we can draw the pencil. So we have the rectangle, and inside, this is the mouse move. So inside, first of all, we will be getting the current width and height. So current width will be nothing but current x minus my start x, because start x is fixed and current x is changing, and current height will be something similar, char y minus start y. And then we also have to clear our rectangle every time. Otherwise, we will be drawing and there will be a myriad of rectangles. I mean, you will see this if I don't do this thing. So I will call the rect draw and I will call it how. So x will be my start x, y will be start y, and then width will be width, height will be height, and then line width will be what will be the line width? We haven't given any, so let's give it 3. And also we have something called, after line width, we have something called color also. That will be, let's say, red. So now let's see what happens when I click on the rectangle and try to draw something. As you can see, something terrible is happening over here. So what we can simply do is clear our rectangle. So we can do it by ctx dot clear rect, because the canvas is also rectangular in shape and we are trying to clear everything out. So clear out the whole canvas in that sense. So 0 comma 0 comma canvas dot width comma canvas dot height. And now if I try to draw rectangles, you can see that we can draw rectangles, but one issue is the previous rectangle is vanishing. Now, how to avoid this one? And that is actually very simple. We have to store all of our rectangles, and then we can basically redraw everything. So we what we need to do is go to our mouse up, and in the mouse up we will store our last rectangle, and then things will be more simple. So here again we have const width equals to my cur x minus start x, and then const height equals to cur y minus start y, and then we have these things, and then we also have one drawings, that is an empty array right now. And inside push, I want to mention the type. The type is rectangle, and then I will mention something called arguments, args, and here I will pass everything. So x is basically start x, y is basically start y, and then we have width, we have height, we have line width, and we have line width is basically my 3, and we have color also, which is basically my red. Now if I do something like this, so it's still not coming, and that is because we are not redrawing the rectangles. So what we need to do is create another function, and I will name this function as redraw. So above rectangles, let me just create another function. This function will be named as redraw. This will not be having any arguments. And inside what we want to do, we will again have some switch case. So switch, and the switch type will be my drawing. Yeah, actually, let's try to understand what we want to do inside the redraw. So we have our drawings here where we are storing everything. So inside my redraw, I want to draw every drawing. So I have to first of all look through it. So for let I equals to 0, I is less than drawings dot length. I think there is a better way to do these things also, but let's proceed ahead for now. And then I plus plus, that's fine. And then let me write drawing equals to drawings I. We could have also used the for each loop, but I think this is fine. Now, every drawing will have something called the type. So for example, in the rectangle, I have given the type as rectangle. So switch will be drawing dot type. And here inside, we will again have the cases. So for example, we already know what are the cases. Cases are this much. So let me paste everything out here. But these things will be changed. So inside the rectangle, what we want to do is we basically want to do rect draw and then pass our arguments, whatever arguments we have saved. So this is not arguments, this is drawing dot arguments. Now let's see what happens. Okay, so this is still not working, and that is because we have not invoked our redraw function. My bad. So in my mouse move, every time I'm doing everything, and in the end, I also want to redraw everything. Redraw. Now rectangle, and as you can see, I can draw many rectangles, and these things are working perfectly fine. Now let's try to also add our circles and other things. So these things are actually not that complex. So inside my circle, I will be doing one circle draw, and actually not here in the redraw. We have the circle. So we will do circle draw. We will pass a drawing.args, and for the line, we will do line draw, and we will pass the drawing.args. That's fine. Now, inside the mouse move also, I have to write the same things. So, inside the circle in the mouse move, what do we need to do? So, first of all, we need to calculate our radius because the radius is constantly changing. The center is fixed although. So, to find the radius, first of all, we need to see that where is our point. So, I will create two variables. Let me name is direction x, dirx. That is basically my cur x minus my start x. This is not really direction, but you get the idea. This will help us get the like radius, radius of the not the radius, the distance of the cursor from the let's say the center. So this will be curve y minus start y. You will see it once it happens. Otherwise, just bear with me for some time. And here I will calculate the radius, and this radius will be nothing but basically my square root of the basically squares. I mean, you know it, it's simple coordinate geometry. So it will be dx into dx plus dy into dy. That's it. And we have radius here, and then we have to push. So drawings dot push, and here we have x. I mean, first of all, we will have the type is basically my circle, and then we will have args arguments, and here we have x is start x, y is start y, and then we have our basically radius. Radius is what whatever we have calculated, that is our radius. And we also have the line width. I mean, line width, let's give 3 for now, and color, let's give green. So we have pushed everything. Now the same thing we have here. We are doing the redraw. So I think everything is fine for now. So let's try to draw some circles. Yeah, I think circles are being drawn, but there is some minor issue. And the issue is they are not being drawn live. So what can be the issue here? Let's try to understand what can be the issue. So we have a circle draw that is drawing our circles. That is fine. Let me simply do one thing. Whenever we are doing the, yeah, I kind of understand why this thing is happening. And that is because we have our mouse move. In the mouse move, the circle is totally empty, because in the mouse move also we need to add these things, like we need to draw the circles every time we are hovering. So that is why we are having this issue. So what we can do is simply inside our mouse up, we will copy everything. Maybe we don't need to push, but we will need these arguments. So let me just copy everything over here. And here, what we need to do is we need to basically draw the circle. So instead of this like push, what we can do is circle draw. And inside a circle draw, we will be having only the arguments, not the other things. And I think there is some extra uh, curly braces. So now if I try to draw circles, so we are getting many things, and that is because we also have to clear the canvas. So we already know what we need to do. We will copy this line and paste over here. And now we can draw the circle. So we are getting circles, and we can also draw. We can also draw along with rectangles. So as you can see, this thing works. So we can also draw circles now. Now let's also draw the lines. This is very simple. So here, what we will do is we will do the clear rect also, and we will do line draw. And we already know the things that we need to pass. X1 is start X, X2 is my start. It's not X2 actually, it's a Y1. It's a start Y. Then we have X2 and Y2. That is my cur X, and Y2 is my cur Y. I mean Y2 is my cur Y. It's not cur Y. And line width, let's give 3 for now, and color, let's give blue. Now we also need to add them. So line draw, not the line draw actually. We need the arguments, and we need to add them inside the drawings. So let me just copy all the arguments. Copied. And we will come over here below the line. We will do one drawings dot push. And inside I need type as, let's say, line, and args as, let's say, whatever we have. Yeah. Now, if I draw lines, so we have 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line. We have these things, and also we can draw circles. So we can draw many things, but actually we can see that there are some errors still. So the error is something like this. We have this line, and then we are drawing one rectangle. So this rectangle should come over the line, not under the line. And now if I draw one circle, the circle should also be coming over the line and the rectangle, not under them. So new drawings are going under the old drawings. So that is one problem that need to be solved. Drawing apps don't work like, new drawings get under the old drawings. So I think this video is getting long, and today I think we can wrap up the video over here. So we have drawn the rectangle, the line, and also the circle. So in the next video, I will show you how we can resolve this small issue. And we will also be implementing our pencil, which is actually the more complex part, and also our eraser. So yeah, that's it for this folks. And we will see you in the next video with this same app only. So see you next time.